Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Matt and I'm back with Kerbal Space Program Hard Career Mode. Last episode didn't exactly go as I planned, as in we didn't get into an orbit. So for this episode I had planned to do some contracts to get more funds, so maybe we can upgrade the launch pad, because that's 150,000 funds and right now we are 22,000 short. However, I realized that I made some mistakes when creating the Gagarin, so I think I'm gonna fix those first and then do the open contract of performing that visual survey. And yeah, let's see how it goes. Okay, first off we have to load the ship. The first mistake I made is related to the boosters. Well, not exactly boosters, but you get the idea. The problem is I have 3 engines in my first stage, but I'm only launching at 2/3 of at 2/3 thrust, because otherwise the thrust to weight ratio would be too high. The problem with that is that the engine is quite heavy, or yeah, the engines are quite heavy, and at 2/3 it pretty much means I have one engine that I don't need. Now, if you're not working with a weight restriction or mass restriction, that's not a problem. You just slap on a couple more fuel tanks and everything's fine. But with the mass restriction, that weight isn't a good idea. So we take out one of those engines. Oh, it's a bit low. Right. It's not clipping through the wings, that's good. But it's too high. Right, there we go. Okay. And the second part is, I've read up some stuff, and one of them is ISP. Basically, an engine's ISP means or is value for how much thrust you get out of 1 unit of fuel. That means higher ISP is better, lower not so much. And the thing is, engines that have a high ISP in an atmosphere usually don't have a high ISP in a vacuum. But when you're launching, you're usually doing that in an atmosphere, especially now that we're on Kerbin. So we want an engine that has a high atmospheric ISP for our first stage. And the thing is that the LVT-45 has an ISP of 270 in atmosphere, and the LVT-30 has 280. Aside from that, it's also lighter. That means basically, as a first stage engine, the LVT-30 is better than the 45. Theoretically. So I switch those out, and we are 5 tons lighter than before, which is great. Another thing I forgot was the antenna. Oops, no, I only want one. So there we go. And just to be on the safe side, we didn't need oops, we didn't need a heat shield when coming down from a suborbital path, but I'm not so sure about orbital flights. So we take a heat shield as well, and now we just put in fuel tanks until we get sick of them. Well, not exactly, but you get the idea. So small one, and there we go. 17.9 tons. Right. Okay. Now it might be possible that the Gagarin as it is now gets into orbit. Problem is, if it doesn't, then the video will be pretty long and pretty boring. Something I want to avoid if I can. So I think even with the modifications I'll try to go for the contract, and maybe if I'm lucky we still get an orbit. Last episode we had Jebediah flying everything, so we'll start with Valentina again. Yeah, staging looks fine. Alright, let's try it. And since we are at 2 engines now, we go to full thrust. And instead of going to the 90-degree marker, I'm gonna try to remember going west. So we launch slowly. Okay. Damn it! Yeah, that's not exactly what I wanted to happen. So it seems that that maybe full thrust is still too much. Who'd have thought? Okay, so we still try to go west, a bit upward. Maybe we can hit the area where we are supposed to do the contract. I mean, orbit is out of the question, but nah, that wasn't expected. What are you doing? Something sounded strange, but I think those were the boosters hitting the ground. So, gotta check if I'm... yeah. Oops! That's a bit quick. What in the world? I didn't think the thrust to weight ratio was that high. And of course we're falling short. Great. Great start to this video. Man. Or woman, or Kerbal. Yeah, that's But that's one of the reasons why I'm recording the voiceover just as I'm playing, so you get the reactions right away. Oh, also because I'm lazy. Because doing the voiceover afterwards is a bit too much hassle for me. Yeah. And I realized what I did wrong. The LVT-30 has a somewhat higher thrust than the LVT-45, and of course that means full thrust of two LVT-30s is more than 2/3 of thrust for 3 LVT-45s. Right, I should have remembered that and gone up with a little less thrust. I'll try that in the next launch. But hey, look at the bright side. This way we get 3 launches in this video as well. Not so sure it's a bright side for you, but yeah. Let's just jettison this part. Yeah, that's the speed at which we're approaching the ground. Or at least I think it's supposed to be. Not sure. I'm entering Knee-Line's... Great! Great! I can do the crew report. And transmit it. Hey! We got the contract. 8,000 funds. So it wasn't a total bust. Alright. So I might still go and do another attempt at an orbit. Goodbye. I read somewhere that if you open the parachute when going faster than 1,000 meters per second, it's likely to rip off. Which is pretty realistic, I think. Could have waited a bit actually. Well, is happy to get back down, to have survived this problematic launch. That was a waste of funds. Or how many do we have? Yeah, 124. We were at 128. Right. Great. So it was a loss of 4,000 funds. Oh well. No new science. Okay, a loss of 2000 funds. Next, Valentina is back. 59 reputation, hooray! But now that we got more room for contracts... No, wait. One thing is... Ooh. That's gonna give a lot of funds. I can never decide what I'm gonna do contract-wise. But I said I was gonna do tourist contracts. So we are gonna go on with that. And for that we need a craft that can carry tourists. So we'll take the Gagarin as a base. And add a few things. That's two more command pods. Yeah, it gets too heavy, it's okay. Actually, this might work. No, it doesn't. Okay. Now we need some more parts anyway. Utility, right. I can't use this right now unless I buy it. Right. So we add 2 parachutes. Not sure if I'm gonna add another 2. Yeah, I think I will. Just in case. But then we don't need this. So instead we put in on a different nose cap. Looks interesting. So... okay. Now we need half a ton less. What is it? Oh, what was I looking for? Oh, right, fuel tank. 3. 17.3. However, the whole craft will be 13,000 funds to launch. Oh, fine. I'll take a few more parts out. Wasn't a lot. Yeah. Let's see how this goes. And we'll call this one, it's a new craft, the Two-Flower. The first tourist craft of carbon. Save this. Of course, we need some tourists first. So, suborbital spaceflight, 10, 12, 14, 17 or something. Alright. That works. Yeah, I didn't have to go to the VAB for this. So Valentina will be flying. Yeah, will be flying, and we put the 2 tourists in as well. Where are they? Early and Theodorf. Okay. Whatever. So Throttle up, not full throttle. We just learned why we don't want to do this. Everyone's strapped in, so we launch. Oops, I forgot to switch SAS on. There's always something. Oops. Okay. Okay, Hurley seems to like flying. Fuel off. Maybe not so much. And of course Val is very happy. She's like Jet in that regard. Okay, that was a good launch. Maybe I should throttle up completely. I think I'm gonna laugh if we... No. Won't end up in orbit. That would have been very weird. We don't seem to be suborbital yet. Now we are suborbital. Oh, crumbs. What? You're trying to tell me that... No. No. There's no way this craft could have gotten an orbit. I mean, sure, we are at apoapsis of 129, so that's okay, 118 now that I burned downwards a bit, but yeah, no, there's just no way. Suborbital spaceflight on Kerbin complete. Great. So that's 4,000 funds right now. Oops. Oh right, we have a lot of electric charge. 50 from each, what's it called? Command pod. But now that we burned out the stage, we can jump. No, I think I'll keep it for now. Because I don't have a heat shield, and I've been told that if you don't have a heat shield, you can just use an engine, if you have one, to take up some of the heat. So I think I'll leave this one in first. Ah yeah, another thing. I talked about apoapsis, periapsis last time, and I read up on that as well. So apoapsis and periapsis are the terms when it comes to orbits around any celestial body, but most bodies have specific terms, as in Earth's case it's apogee and perigee. When it comes to the Sun, I think it's Hill in the end, and so on. So that's why it's called apoapsis in the game. Ah, and Theodorf isn't panicking anymore, which is nice. Hurley and Valentina. Wait. Ah, yeah, he's a tourist, he can't go EVA. No, what I wanted to check is his IVA. Okay, which way are you facing? What? Ah, yeah. I'm not sure which button I'm pressing. No, but that means he should be in the lower capsule. I thought maybe he was the guy who was flying backwards, but he isn't. That's Hurley. Yeah, Hurley doesn't see stars, he sees the water of Kerbin. There we are. Yeah, Hurley is the guy flying backwards. Because his window is the only one pointing towards Kerbin, the others are pointing out to the stars. And we're back in atmosphere. No, what? Control from here. I was just wondering because the nav ball was the wrong way around. But when I went IVA in Hurley's capsule, it switched the controls to his capsule as well, even though he's not a rated pilot. So... uh-oh. Of course, for heat shield things to work, they have to be pointed towards the heat, which they aren't right now. Okay, fine. Okay, let's hope that doesn't go wrong. Oi! Okay. Okay, this is a bit risky right now. Because I'm not entirely sure that the stage I just jettisoned won't hit us. Okay, no, it's passing us by. Whew, that's good. There it goes. Yeah. And we are at 80 meters per second, but okay, now the parachutes are open. Yeah, 6 meters per second, didn't need a second set of parachutes. But I wanted to be on the safe side. Because losing tourists to an instance of hitting the ground or the water too hard isn't the way I want my space program to be going. I mean, it would have only been Theodorf and he was scared anyways, but maybe he's less scared now that he knows he can survive it. Maybe he'll even join the space program somewhere. Maybe. Splash. And we got a splashdown. Nice. Yeah, now Theodor is happy. I don't know. Alright. Yeah. Next. 3,500 funds back. Everybody's back. Hurley and Theolorf got some XP, which is nice, but yeah. Hooray! The tour was a success! They had nothing but great things to say about the trip and brought back plenty of photos. Surprising that Theolorf was calm long enough to take photos. Anyway, yeah, travel itineraries are complete. Alright. Now I'm actually not sure what I'm gonna do now. Because I could do 2 more tourist contracts. Do more visual surveys. Maybe not now. Where would that be? Oh, that would be... no, to the north. That's not exactly where I want to be going right now. The thing is, I'm thinking about doing the tourist contracts, but that would be a bit grindy, so I think I'm gonna do this off camera. But we still got some time, so I think I'm gonna take the parachute contract and see if maybe we can get Gagarin into orbit. Another attempt, maybe another failure. Yeah, let's have Val fly this one as well. Yeah, right. Okay. And the thing I always forget is to put the staging like this. So, what did we say about this much thrust? SAS on. That almost didn't work earlier. And we launch again. Thrust. Don't want to go too fast and flip over again. Shit. Right, great. Scott. There we go. I don't know if that's Valentina's doing or what is going on. Okay. Let's see if we can get... Okay, let's see if we can get... if we can at least get to space, because I don't think an orbit is in the cards right now. Okay, maybe I tone it down a little. Yeah, space but orbit times aren't happening again. And I really wanted to get into orbit on 18 or less tons. But at least I'll be getting the parachute test, I think. Have to wait until I'm between 6 and 9,000 meters, but and hope that the speed is gonna be correct. But yeah, I'm thinking maybe if I try that again, I should take one of the fuel tanks out of the boosters and just put more in the main stage. Yeah, that might be the problem with the craft actually. I'm not sure why it wants to go heavy end first, but it would fit the behavior we've seen in the last two videos. And we are in space. Burning while we are at the apoapsis. Yep, out of fuel. Oops. Oops. Oh, of course I forgot to switch SAS back on. Right. Well, still happy. Bye bye stage. Wait, did I have a heat? Yeah, I had the heat shield on this one. Yeah, and sorry for the low visibility right now. I know that flying in the dark doesn't show up very well on YouTube, so I'm gonna turn around the camera so at least you get the silhouette of the capsule against Kerbin's galaxy, or Kerbin's equivalent of the Milky Way. Which is another reason why I'm gonna do the other two tourist contracts off camera, because there are gonna be launches in the dark, most likely. So there would not be a lot to see. Of course, I can and I will switch warp to the next sunrise from the Space Center view once the launches are done. So the next video will be in the sun again. so you can see what I'm doing. I mean, I see what I'm doing, but you may want to see it as well. Otherwise there's not much point in a video. Okay, you're seeing that one well, I think. You know the red stuff? Re-entry effects. And the marker of the stage that's going to hit the sea before we do. And now the red and re-entry effects turn white. That's the supersonic effects, and we are at the correct altitude and speed for the parachute. So the test commences. And they got some good data. 14,000 funds. And 2 science. Gonna take science wherever I can get it. 3 reputation. Okay. So we even got a net gain in funds. So it might really be possible that after upgrading the or after doing the tourist contracts, I'll upgrade the launch pad, and maybe we can, or maybe I'll just build a bigger rocket next time. The old the usual way to get further in Kerbal Space Program, or at least further than you got before. Strap on more boosters. Or more fuel tanks, whichever helps. And we're down. Yeah, another 1,200 funds. 76.3% value of the recovered parts, because we were almost 500 kilometers from the KSC. The closer you are, the more value you get. Valentina is back. We got a lot of reputation. Okay. So, yeah. Like I said, I'll do the tourist contracts off camera. But I think that's all I'm gonna do off camera. So next time we'll pretty much see the KSC the same way it was now, or it is now. Except maybe I will already have warped to the next morning. And upgrades will be done then. So we'll meet again next time, hopefully with more money in the bank or more funds. Until then, thank you everyone and good night.